after the intro. Alrighty, welcome back to the Wisco Fanatics Tuesday night. Tonight we are recapping the Green Bay Packers loss to the Detroit Lions in Detroit, and we will be previewing their upcoming Sunday night football game against the Seahawks in Seattle. So we're going to get into it, and here we go.
Welcome to another live episode of the Wisco Fanatics Show, where we discuss the Packers, Bucks, Brewers, Badgers football, and basketball from an optimistic perspective. Wisco Fanatics is brought to you by Cardboard Legacy, Wisconsin's most complete sports card shop. Buy, sell, grade, and consign all at their location in Oshkosh.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Wisco Fanatics on Tuesday night. Packers episode number 15, I believe. 15, I would count this as. So you guys are getting a throwback episode for episode 15 this year of 2024. Almost 4 years into the making. Tyler and I used to do these, just me and him, and they were very awkward, very unorganized. We were just reminiscing before about the webcams we used to have, and I used to hold a mic in my hand and used to have electrical tape on it, and it was just – it's been a long road, long 4 years. I mean, Jesus, we've been doing this so long. This show is older than my daughter, and that is insane to me. But yeah, it's gonna be fun. No Simon and Bryant tonight. Simon busy with military duties, and Bryant is on a work vacation, I guess we'll call it. He has his Christmas party in a different state, so he's not able to be with us. So Tyler and myself will be covering all the notes from a gritty, tough loss in Detroit. A lot of ways that it was tough, not just, the 3-point loss, not just, the fourth downs and the third down percentages that we gave up and we didn't convert on our side. There were some other things and some things that were out of our team's control that, happened that went against us. And when I talk about that, I'm just going to transition into it, buddy.
Yep.
We're talking about the reffing. And we wanted to, give this platform for anybody who wanted to, still talk about that. I got all my frustrations out at work on Friday. I punched the table a few times. I screamed about it, and then I was over it, It sucks, but, in the mindset that the players are going to take on, I try to do that as well. Is like, listen, whatever happened. You try to learn from it, and you move on to the next game. Now, the Seahawks are going to be no pushover, and we're going to go over that game shortly. But you got in the NFL, in the NBA, in the MLB, in major sports, you have to have a mindset of, okay, that's over with. We move on, Don't dwell on it too much. There were one or two calls that I think that really were like, okay, that's kind of egregious. Yeah. But there were some calls, some calls they're hard, especially we're seeing it in replay, And that's the thing I always try to take away from it is we're seeing it super slowed down. These referees are on the field with these giant, fast human beings, and they have to make those decisions in a split second. So it's a tough job. It's a thankless job, and it is what it is, man. You lick your wounds and you move on, right?
Yeah, Justin, that's just how you draw it up. That your care package would arrive on a Tuesday. So I love that worked out that way. We appreciate you. We just wanted to show you some appreciation. So I'm glad that worked out. And my thing on the refs, it sucks. Like you said, basically it is what it is. We just wanted to I shouldn't even say maybe. We just wanted to take a minute at the beginning of the show just to acknowledge that we understand that it was part of the game. Obviously, it was not a good part. It was a very frustrating part. But the rest of this show is going to be focusing on what happened outside of the officiating.
Yeah.
So we're still going to break down all of the areas, the impacts. Jake and I are covering for Simon and Bryant's topics while they are gone this week. But we just wanted to create a space in the beginning of the show. We're addressing it, and then we are moving on. So the rest of the show, we're not going to be talking about the refs. We're going to be strictly just talking about the football teams. So Jake's going to start with the pass rush, and then Darian, I don't know if you're watching, but I do have the pass rush numbers that you asked for last week with the Lions game baked in. So this is through week 15 or week 14. Week 14. So through week 14. So Jake's going to give the game-specific ones, and then I'm going to give the ones from the trade deadline through week 14. So I have those numbers for you, Adarian, if you're watching.
Okay, I love that. I have some stats on LVN that I found as well, if you want me to give those.
Oh.
Do you have
If
those?
I don't say them, then you can say them.
Okay.
Unless it's game-specific. If it's game-specific, give them. If they're broad, let me say my broad thing, and then you can add your stuff.
All right, sounds good, buddy. All right, here we go. So pass rush, we had the 1 sack from Rashawn Gary. We had 2 quarterback hits, 1 from Gary, 1 from Wyatt. And then we had 11 hurries, led by Isaiah McDuffie with 3. 7 other players contributed to this as well. The pass rush just – I have an opinion on it, and it's tough. We did try to do some blitz, right? We tried to blitz play. We tried to blitz McDuffie. Obviously, McDuffie had 3 pressures. He got picked up a few times by Monty. Monty did a nice job of learning from that and picking up those blitzes, right? But he was still in there and affecting Jared Goff. The thing with blitzing, when you're so thin at corner, is it leaves those guys on an island. And those are not particularly guys you want to leave on an island. Now, if you have a guy like Jair, which, hopefully he's back this week, then it makes it a little bit easier. You can roll coverages and blitz from certain areas, but when you don't have that guy and then you start losing other guys, like Devon Bullard and Evan Williams during a game, it is hard to just pull up blitz. I've seen tons of people being like, the Lions are blitzing, why are the Packers not blitzing? It's like, guys, they're different coaches. They have their 2 studs in the back. They have their number 1 corner. It's a little bit easier for them to blitz, So I just wanted to give that context on this, but pass rush obviously could be a little bit better, but I got some numbers on that later.
Yeah, and we'll talk about some of that stuff, and I'll mention some stuff with the D-line too, but Darian said he's here. He just didn't give enough pressure on Goff. I mean, 12 pressures is okay. Yeah. Obviously, you'd like to be in that 15 to 20 range, but 12 isn't awful. It's just kind of on the lower side of the gray area. Yeah. Looking at it, since the trade deadline, these are the numbers that you asked for, Darian. Since the trade deadline, since Preston Smith was traded to the Steelers, the best pass rushers at the edge playing at least 20% of snaps by grade for PFF, Lucas Van Ness is number 3. Rashawn Gary is number 38. Obviously, I'd like to see him higher, but I mean, given the amount of players that there are in the NFL, it is what it is. By pass rush win rate, LVN is number 9. Rashawn Gary is number 33. This is a stat that PFF has. It's called PRP. It combines sacks, hurries, and hits relative to the number of pass rushes that they have. Lucas Van Ness ranks 12th in that, and Rashawn Gary is 22nd. That's all among edge. Going among defensive linemen, Kenny Clark and Devontae Wyatt are both in the mid-30s for pass rushing. And then among linebackers, Quay is number 11 in grade, number 18 in pass rush win rate, and number 6 in that PRP. So, in my opinion, the Packers are getting some pass rush. They just aren't getting it from enough people.
Yeah, it's a little top-heavy. I agree with that. A little top-heavy.
And as we've discussed with a lot of other things with the Packers, and we will continue to do so, is just consistency in general. Yeah. So I think that's where the opportunity to grow is there. Now, looking at the defensive line, I just mentioned Lucas Van Ness. He hurt his thumb in this game. Sounded like pretty badly. When they were talking about him during the game, they said that he was looking distraught or pretty upset in the locker room when his thumb was hurt. And then half an hour later, he's back in the game. Dude's a warrior.
You can't have the name Hercules if you don't do that.
Exactly. Looking at it, the Packers got 14 pressures. 8 of them came from the defensive line. 29 run stops. That's impressive to me.
Yeah.
12 of them came from the defensive line. Looking at it, Kenny Clark was the Packers' highest graded defender. He had 6 run stops. Devontae Wyatt was the 4th highest graded defender. Lucas Van Ness was the 5th highest graded defender. And Rashawn Gary was the 6th highest graded defender. So, obviously, you still want more pass rush, but, I mean, the D-line did their job, in my opinion, especially when we get to the tackling stuff. Yeah, Darian, I agree. There's some bright spots, but there's always room to grow.
Yeah.
And like I said, I think the consistency and then just the sheer numbers of guys being involved. Like I think Kingsley Enagbare is a guy who's got an opportunity to step up, and he's made some splashes. But if he wants a second contract, I think he's going to have to be a little bit more productive.
Yeah, consistent.
Okay. Going into the linebackers and tackling, I'm covering that for Bryant. The linebackers, they were very good against the run, not so good against the pass. That's pretty much the best way to wrap it up. Quay overall had a pretty okay game. He was pretty good versus the run. He had 5 run stops. He sprang Rashawn Gary for his sack. That'll be in our play breakdowns this week. And he allowed 3 for 3 in coverage for 31 yards. So, meh there. Isaiah McDuffie, he racked up 15 tackles, so that was helpful. Had 4 run stops, but he allowed 9 completions on 9 targets in coverage for 68 yards and a touchdown. The short way to put this is the Packers miss Edgerrin Cooper. That's just the easy way to put it.
That's fair.
They need a fast, twitchy cover linebacker, and I think Edgerrin Cooper offers that. So my short note on the linebackers is that they miss Edgerrin Cooper. The tackling, however, outstanding. Only 4 missed tackles. That is outstanding, especially against an offense that has as many weapons as the Lions offense does.
Yeah.
Gibbs is 8th. David Montgomery is 12th in missed tackles for rushers, and David Montgomery ranks 5th in missed tackles forced in the receiving game.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So those 2 guys alone could easily force 4 missed tackles each.
Mm-hmm.
And the Packers only missed 4 tackles total against the Lions. So that is very encouraging.
I like that.
Okay. All right. Rip the Band-Aid off. How do they do on 3rd and 4th down?
Oh, boy. Yeah. So, not good. 3rd down, we allowed 7 of 15. And 4th down, we allowed 4 of 5. Obviously, we gave up on 4th down was really the killer down. 2 games against the Lions, and both games we gave up 2 touchdowns on 4th downs. And then obviously in this one, we gave up the big 4th down conversion at the end that allowed them to bleed the entire clock so they could kick the little tiny game-winning field goal. But it's tough, but I'm not going to make excuses because going into the game, this is what Dan Campbell has been doing for a few years, right? And I'm going to give him credit, and this is going to hurt because this week's going to suck. I have to give credit to the Lions after a Packers loss, and I have to give credit to Marquette after beating the Badger basketball team. Now, you know me long enough. You know that's hard for me, but
that doesn't bother me at all.
You're okay with it because you like both. This is what he does. Now, in terms of the Brewers, you were really the leader on this, talking about, when the Brewers are getting thrown out at home plate, you don't just stop doing that just because it happens once or twice. The Lions had an egregious 4th down stop that the Packers made a play on a 4th down, and it allowed the Packers to steal a lot of momentum. And, then they go for it after that 4th down stop, and they end up picking it up. And it is what it is, man. It sucks. We didn't get enough pressure. We didn't hold them into 3rd and longs long enough. If you look at their 3rd downs out of the 15, 13 out of the 15 were from the 3rd and 6 and lower category. And out of those 13, 12 of the 13 are 3rd and 5. So 12 of the 15 attempts are within 5 yards. That's not good enough. We got to be better in that area. 2 touchdowns on 4th down again. I mean, we're this close to this team.
Yeah.
We're this close.
How dare you use the Brewers against me? How dare you?
I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to use them against you.
I hate you for that because it makes sense.
Yeah, it does. That's the way that my mind went to it. I was like, yeah, we were talking about the Brewers getting thrown out at home, being aggressive, and that's what the Lions do. They're always aggressive, so they're going to go for it.
I hate you for that. Damn it. I have nothing to rebuttal that with.
I'm sorry, man.
Damn it. Fine. I'll allow it. Adarian said the run defense has looked better. The coverage needs to tighten up, especially in the middle. While we may not be giving up big plays on a consistent basis, we're getting picked apart. Definitely need Jair and Cooper back. 1,000% agree. And going into the secondary, if Jair is not 80% or better, I think the Packers need to bring somebody in.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's somebody from the practice squad who's familiar with the coaching staff and everything, or if it's somebody that they've had in the past or what. But if Jair isn't healthy this week, I think they need to bring somebody in. When Bullard and Williams got hurt, and Williams is, I'm not going to jump ahead because we're trying to keep it on just the recap. The secondary was really, really stretched thin, and that forces the Packers to have to play a lot of zone. It forces them to have to take one pass rusher away, kind of like you said, and it just really spreads the entire team thin. Now, looking in coverage, the Packers weren't bad, honestly. Eric Stokes gave up 1 for 3. He gave up a 1-yard touchdown. It was the only touchdown that came against the secondary. He gave up an 81.9 rating when targeted. Keyshawn Nixon allowed 7 for 10 for 66 yards with an interception. He allowed a 48.3 rating. Obviously, the 70% completion percentage is pretty high, but 66 yards, that's less than 10 per catch. Carrington Valentine, 2 for 4, had a pass breakup. He allowed 19 yards. He allowed a 63.5 rating. But Xavier McKinney allowed 3 for 3 for 31 yards. Javon Bullard allowed 3 for 3 for 39 yards. The safeties struggled in coverage. That's part of the team getting stretched thin. Guys are having to do a little bit more than they're used to, a little bit more than their roles have been asking of them. So we need everybody healthy in the secondary. It's going to help the rest of the team.
Just want to add a little context to Nixon's numbers. You said 66 yards, right, on 7 catches?
Yep.
He gave up that one at the end of the game that wasn't called that offensive pass interference. That was a 17-yarder. So 17 of the 66 came on one pass.
True.
And it could have been nullified by a correct call. So Nixon actually was pretty damn good in this game.
I don't think he had illegal contact on the one penalty that he had either.
Yeah, I don't think there was either.
He didn't grab or anything. I don't think that was illegal contact.
Yeah, I thought he played.
I understand the ref calling it because it was really sticky coverage, but he didn't grab, he didn't pull. There was no jersey grabbing. There was no shoulder twist. There was no hip twist. I think that was just really, really tight coverage. Yeah,
I thought it was good coverage too. Again, I thought he was. If we get that form of Nixon with a Jair and a healthy defensive backfield, I think the DB room will be pretty good.
And honestly, I like Stokes on the outside. I think he's been pretty solid covering the outside.
He just plays so far off, man. I think he's actually scared to just actually hit that second gear since he's had all those leg injuries. I really think that's what he's scared of.
Yeah. All right. How did the Packers defense do in the red zone?
Red zone. All right. So we allowed 4 for 5. So first series, they get into the red zone right away. They had a 1st and goal. Gibbs went for -1. Holding, there was no play. 1st and goal from the 20. Goff hits Gibbs for 7 yards. 2nd and goal from the 13. Goff hits Laporta for 6 yards. This is where the soft zone coverage is coming into play. 3rd and goal at the 7. The mentioned ghost call of illegal contact on Nixon on a ball that sailed on Jared Goff. I wrote soft as hell in my notes. And then 1st and goal from the 3, they got a touchdown. So then they get their second trip. It's their 5th series, so the defense actually locked in a little bit, to be honest with you. They got a couple punts and got a turnover in there. They have 1st and 10 at the 18. Gibbs goes for 3. 2nd and 7 at the 15. Goff to Laporta for 11 yards. 1st and goal at the 4. Montgomery for 3. 2nd and goal at the 1. Goff tries to sneak it in. No gain. Really, really nice play by the defensive front. Wanted to point that out. Yeah, you mean the complete BS call? I do.
Yeah.
3rd and goal at the 1. Montgomery for -1, and then 4th and goal at the 2. And like I said, they're going to go for it. They're going to be aggressive. Yeah. Gibbs gets in and gets the touchdown. So then their 3rd trip into the red zone, they have 1st and goal at the 8. It was their 7th series, by the way, so we got to stop. And then they got the ball back, and they went to the red zone again. Goff incomplete from the 8-yard line. 2nd and goal from the 8. Gibbs goes for 4 yards. 3rd and goal from the 8. Gibbs goes for 1. And then 4th and goal, Lions go with tempo. Really, really nice job of the Lions. I'm so sick and tired of giving them credit. Really nice job by Lions and Ben Johnson to be like, listen, we don't get in on this play. This is the play call. Go with tempo. I wrote in my notes, I really, really would have loved a timeout here.
I agree with you. I put that in my coaching notes to call a timeout there. Even if both teams aren't subbing, I would still be okay with just taking a timeout as they're getting set. Like, you see what they're coming out in, and then Matt LaFleur run on the sideline and call a timeout. I would have been fine with it, even if you were ready for it.
Yep, 100%. It's almost like one of those end game scenarios where they're lining up for a big 3rd down or something, right? Yep. And they just went forward on the series before where they got into the red zone on 4th down. You know they're going to try to go for the kill because the Packers had the lead at this point. You know they're going to try to go take the lead. You got to call a timeout there. That's one thing that I'm going to talk about. LaFleur. Give him a little discredit to LaFleur, but they ended up scoring a touchdown to Patrick because people were just disorganized. Honestly, that's just all it was.
I agree.
Then you get to the 9th series and their 4th trip into the red zone. 1st and 10 at the 17. They hit St. Brown for 10. 1st and 10 at the 7. Montgomery goes for 4. 2nd and goal at the 3. Montgomery for 2. 3rd and goal at the 1. They hit Tim Patrick for another touchdown. And then the 5th series is the one that they didn't score a touchdown on. That was the one where they were just bleeding the clock, and they ended up getting a couple first downs and kicked the game-winning field goal. So, honestly, they ran a lot of plays in the red zone. The Packers defense was holding them, and then a couple 4th down plays really was the difference. If they get a stop on one of those 4th down plays, that completely tilts the game in the favor of the Packers. Lots of momentum. Obviously, the points off the board is a big thing. So, as I'm not mad, I think that they could do some things a little bit better, especially linebackers. I think Edgerrin Cooper would have made a huge difference in this game in the red zone.
Yep, I agree. Darian said, when I watch our corners, it seems like Jeff Halfway's scared to trust anyone besides Jair in coverage and man coverage.
I am too.
Yeah, I mean, I understand where you're coming from, but looking at it, the Lions aren't the team to be like, yeah, let's see who we can trust one-on-one. Because, I mean, even if you look at years past, like, obviously they have Amon-Ra, Jameson Williams, both very good players. Mm-hmm. Tim Patrick's not a slouch. The Lions bet on him because he's had a long injury history, but even guys like Josh Reynolds, like that's a sneaky good wide receiver to have as your 4th best wide receiver.
Yeah,
and
he's been on some good
Sam Laporta in the mix as well. Plus, both of their running backs are pass catchers.
Yeah.
So while I understand your point, the Lions are not the team to try to do it against, and neither are the Seahawks, which we'll get to. But looking just at the coaching aspect, I strongly agree with you on calling the timeout on that 4th and goal. I would have been fine with it whether they were substituting or not. Other than that, I agree with Matt LaFleur's challenge. Even with the second effort, I really thought he was short. I thought the crack of Evan Williams knocked him back, and then if he's still trying to fight forward after that, that to me should have been short of the first down mark. But it is what it is. Wasn't mad at how the Packers closed the game. They just have to start better, is how I feel. I don't feel like this one was where like the Packers couldn't close out a win or anything like that. They went toe-to-toe with the best team in the NFC, arguably the best team in the NFL. They just needed to be off to a better start.
Mm-hmm.
The offensive line struggling in the first half, that was where I think a big part of that slow start came from. And in my opinion, if you're looking at Matt LaFleur and the play calling in that situation, I'd just like to see them call some quick passes. Do some of the stuff that like how the Bears were doing against the Packers when their offensive coordinator changed for the first game. A lot of that quick stuff. That can negate pass rush. And we didn't talk about this when we were talking about the Packers pass rush, but Jared Goff's time to throw was 2.34 seconds. So that ball was out of there hot.
Yep.
So to still be able to get 12 pressures on a ball leaving the hand of the quarterback that quickly is still honestly kind of impressive. So what did you take away from special teams?
Yeah, so nothing to report on the return game, just a couple fair catches in the punt return game from Jaden Reed. We didn't get a chance to return any kicks because they're kicking at a dome, and these kickers can kick far now. So nothing to report there. In terms of field goal kicking for McManus, 1 for 1 on field goals and 4 for 4 on extra points. So he's just, like I've said before, he's been a pro's pro. He just goes out there and does his job, man. And that's honestly, that's nice to have. When you don't have it, you appreciate it when you do. In terms of punts, we had 3 punts, 2 inside the 20. All 3 punts were fair caught. And he had 4.73 seconds of hang time. So he did a really nice job leaving the ball in the air, letting his kick coverage team get down there. Obviously, 3 fair catches. So nice job from the special teams.
All right, going into the offense, let's start with the tight ends.
Yeah, tight ends. Tucker Kraft. No, I'm going to give credit to Sims first. Now, Sims only had 1 catch for 2 yards. He did a really nice job being a safety valve on a play down in the red zone, but he did have a very, very good blocking grade. I believe he was 3rd or 4th. I forgot to write it down. 3rd or 4th in terms of pass blocking grade. He was pretty good. I know that
he was 5th in pass.
Oh, he was 5th. Okay.
He did not pass block at all.
Oh, he was run blocking then. I was
run blocking. Yeah. Let me pull up run blocking.
Yeah, so he was good in the run blocking game. In terms of Tucker Kraft in the receiving game, mainly 5 targets, 3 receptions, 41 yards, 1 touchdown, 13 yards of yak, 2 first downs, and 1 disgusting move after Kirby Joseph just tried to be a dirty son of a bitch. I mean, let's just call it what it is. Head down, diving at somebody's knees is not the way they teach you how to tackle. I don't give a shit what anybody says.
I saw J.J. Watt make a comment to this where he's like, oh, he's a tight end. Well, how's he supposed to tackle a tight end? The shoulder to the thigh is fair. The helmet to the knee in the same attempt, not a good look.
I agree.
And it pains me to say that I think J.J. Watt is in the wrong, and I understand him being a defender. You are not a defensive back, J.J. Watt.
Yeah.
You were a gigantic defensive end.
Yeah, agreed.
So, and here's the thing. I would be far more willing to give the benefit of the doubt in a situation like this if Kirby Joseph did not have a history of diving at people's knees and ankles.
And you want to know what else? I would also take that side if I didn't see what transpired after the game with Kirby Joseph to Tucker Kraft. Also,
big Stephon Diggs. Better hold me back energy.
Yeah, okay. Hey, you better be ready next time. That's all I'm saying, bro. Yeah. Front running ass little
big. Hold me back. Oh, hold me back. People are like, oh, Tucker Kraft's not going to do nothing. Meanwhile, 2 security guards are holding back Kirby Joseph.
Yeah. Tucker Kraft is a man, and he carries himself like one.
Yeah, I don't care for how he carries himself either. And I've been on the Kirby Joseph is dirty train since he dove into Romeo Dobbs' ankle last year and cost him like 4 games.
That was 2 years ago, I think.
Was it 2 years ago?
Yeah, I think that was 2022.
Damn. Time flies when you're old, I guess. Okay. So, going into the wide receivers, looking at it, a lot of being made of Jaden Reed only having 1 target. It was one that he dropped, but he only played 25 snaps out of the 50 on the offensive side of the ball. Potentially injury flare-up, maybe. It's purely speculation. I don't know anything about that. That'll be something to keep an eye on during the week. Christian Watson played 46 out of the 50. Dontavian Wicks played 39 out of the 50. Those 2 over the last couple of weeks have been fantastic in run blocking situations. So I understand both of them getting a lot of playing time. If Dobbs and potentially Reed are out or limited for this week, maybe Bo Melton can get some more snaps. He was very highly graded in the run blocking for 2 weeks in a row, arguably his best 2 run blocking games of the season. If both of them are out for any reason, then we will also need Malik Heath involved. Jumping into the passing game distribution, Love followed his first game targeting fewer than 7 players by targeting fewer than 6. Targeted 5 players this week. One of them was Jaden Reed, was the one target for him, 1 for Sims, and then 9 of them. Christian Watson had 4 catches on 6 85. Tucker Kraft had 3 catches on 5 targets, and Dontavian Wicks had 4 catches on 5 targets. Love was 1 for 1 behind the line of scrimmage, 7 for 11 from 0 to 9 with the drop. Had the 1 miss to Tucker Kraft in the end zone. That was really the only bad throw that I think Jordan Love made the entire game, was missing Tucker Kraft on what would have been a touchdown. Ended up not mattering.
Yep.
And then he was 3 for 4 from 10 to 19 and 1 for 2 on 20-plus yard throws. So the ball was distributed. I have no complaints on the distribution. So moving into the O-line, I will go back to you since that's normally Bryant's topic and you are covering it.
Yeah. So in terms of sacks, we gave up 1. Zach Tom gave up a sack. We had 4 quarterbacks hits that we gave up in 8 hurries. So here's what I thought of. First of all, want to give credit to Chris Brooks. That guy is an absolute stud in pass pro.
Yep.
Stud.
Yep.
And a lot of people were upset with A.J. Dillon, being hurt. That sucks. A.J. Dillon's a great guy. I listen to him on the radio every once in a while. He just talks so highly of Green Bay. It sucks that we haven't got to see Lloyd this year. That really sucks. I was really excited for him after, doing all the draft prep that we did and then getting really excited to see what he could bring to this offense with a new running back room. Emmanuel Wilson was exciting last year. He's had some exciting plays this year. If none of those injuries happen, and injuries suck, and I'm not cheering for them, we would not have Chris Brooks. And in third down situations, when you need a running back to block, I feel real good with 30 back there.
Yeah, absolutely.
To be completely honest with you.
Yep. And honestly, if we're talking strictly about Chris Brooks and his blocking, and you can bring this up in the running game if you want.
Yeah.
I love the sets where they have Brooks and Jacobs in the backfield and they motion Jacobs behind Love and use Chris Brooks as a lead blocker. I love when they do that.
Dude, they did that and they ran out of that set this week. That was phenomenal.
Yeah.
I was like,
that's what I'm saying. When they run out of it, they did it twice against the Dolphins, and then they did it again this week. And I'm like, ooh, I like that a lot.
I clapped, and I was like, chess, not checkers, Matt. Nicely done.
Yep.
So in terms of people who had tough games, now I know Sean Ryan, he was graded pretty badly on PFF, but man, I want to give him a lot of credit. I felt like he gutted one out, man.
Yeah, he got
absolutely warrior game for him. Fuck a grade on this one, dude, honestly. For him to come back in the game when he looked like he was going to go down for the entire game, and I was like having like an oh shit moment with how much they were blitzing, and they were putting Telford in there, I was like, oh boy, we could be in trouble. But then Sean Ryan just guts one out, dude. Absolutely phenomenal. Myers was the guy, and I know people were saying Zach Tom and you as well, and I'm not calling anybody out. I felt like Zach Tom really had a first couple rough, like 2 or 3 series when the offense was kind of sputtering. And then once he kind of figured that out, I felt like the only guy who had a tough game was Myers.
Yeah.
Now
I said it in our group chat that I think Tom had a kind of a rough first half.
Yeah, and I agree with you.
Second half, lockdown. Totally good.
So what are the 2 similarities between these games? 4th down for the Lions offense and the center position for the Packers letting us down. Those are the 2 similarities. One was because we didn't have our regular center in there and we were getting some bad snaps from Elton Jenkins. This one was because they were literally just putting 8, 9 people on the line of scrimmage and being like, take a guess.
Yeah,
that's a tough situation for Myers to be in. Tough situation for Love to be in. Now, they got to figure it out, and they scored some points. They scored 31 points, having to figure some shit out in the middle of this game. But I would say that the Packers would have a really good chance to win if they go up to Detroit again. I'm just saying, man. They're going to be motivated and ready. Not that they weren't this one, but, coming off a Thanksgiving game, a Thursday game, I mean, that's tough to travel on a Thursday when your time clock's all messed up. It is what it is. Now, I'm going to go into rushing. Are you ready for this?
Yeah, go for it. Sorry, I was looking at penalties.
Yeah, go ahead. We had zero penalties in the pass blocking game, from what I saw. Oh, no, we did have a holding, I thought.
There was one holding. Adarian just brought it up. He said, I'm happy with the O-line holding their own, but I feel they need to cut back on the penalties, especially so many on Jenkins and Walker.
Oh, forgot to bring that up. How about Rasheed Walker with the freaking – he did the Reggie White move to block somebody, bro. The hump move to block a linebacker on the edge.
Honestly, if you're an offensive lineman, you just got to be waiting for a time like that in your life where, like, your arm just catches their underarm just right and you feel you have the force to be able to go, like, if you're an offensive lineman, that's got to be like the equivalent of like, all right, bottom of the ninth, 2 outs, bases loaded.
Right.
Like, and then you catch one and it's like, like,
and you scored a touchdown on it. Yeah, right.
That was awesome. Darian, I'm going to come back to your other comment in a minute.
Yeah, so I'll do this real quick, Darian. So in terms of rushing attack, we had 24 attempts for 99 yards and 3 touchdowns. 58 yards after contact, 48 of those were from Josh Jacobs. It was tough sledding up there. Like I said, they were putting 8-9 guys on the box. So they were daring us to throw the ball with the pressure in their face. We had 7 rushing first downs. 5 of those came from Josh Jacobs, 1 from Jordan Love, and 1 from Chris Brooks. I'm really becoming like a big Chris Brooks fan, dude. Like he's awesome, dude. Go ahead with the comment from Adarian.
So Darian said, I've been standing on the argument that Christian Watson is worth a second contract while I'm unsure with Romeo Doubs. Romeo Doubs is absolutely worth a second contract. There's not a singular doubt.
If I had to say second contract guys right now in the wide receiver room, Watson, Doubs, Reed, that'd be it for me.
Wicks, jury's still out. But he's a second-year player.
Yeah, that's the only one.
Yeah.
I agree.
Melton and Heath, if you can get them for like league minimum, absolutely.
100%. Bring them back.
Okay. Anything else you wanted to say on the run game?
No, I thought the running game was tough. I thought we ran tough.
Okay. 3rd and 4th down offense.
3rd down offense, 1 for 5.
Yeah.
So we were 0 for 2 in 3rd and mediums, and I actually wrote them down. We had a 3rd and 6. Our first 3rd down attempts was a 3rd and 6. Love was incomplete to Wicks. Then our second 3rd down attempt was a 3rd and 5, incomplete to Christian Watson. Our third 3rd down attempt was a touchdown to Tucker Kraft. Absolute fucking laser from Jordan Love, by the way. And a really nice body control catch from Tucker Kraft.
For sure.
I'm impressed, dude. He embodies a guy that just wants to get into street fights, but then he can just catch the ball like that. It's
honestly, if we're looking at like his body control and stuff, it would not shock me to learn that he does like ballet. Wouldn't shock me at all.
Yeah, it's amazing. Then our next one was a 3rd and 9 at the 31. He hit Christian Watson for 6 yards, so he did complete the pass. We didn't pick up the first down. And then we had a 3rd and goal at the 16. This was after the really, really shitty call on Watson on the pick play. Love scrambled for 2 yards, and then we had to settle for a field goal to tie the game. And that was all the 3rd down attempts we had. So 3rd down offense was easy for me this week.
We had the same number of attempts in the red zone as we did on 3rd down.
Yep. Yeah, we did.
And converted at a much higher clip, which is awesome. 4 out of 5. Again, so the first trip was right before half. Love scrambled to the 13. That's where he missed Tucker Kraft. But 2 penalties later, the Packers scored on a Josh Jacobs touchdown. The second one, a deep shot to Christian Watson to get into the red zone. And then on 3rd and 10 at the 12-yard line, Love hit Kraft for that contested catch touchdown. Mm-hmm. 3rd trip, they started in the red zone after the Keyshawn Nixon interception. If he would have taken that to the house, that would have been my bold prediction from last week coming true, and that would have been awesome. Mm-hmm. Adarian said Tucker Kraft is becoming one of my favorite players. He should be acknowledged as one of the best tight ends in the league. Love that. And if we're talking just 2024, I agree.
Yes.
I think going into next season, he'll get some more recognition. 4th trip, a big play to Tucker Kraft got them to the 6. That's the one where he got hit while he was up in the air. Ooh, cool. And then he did the kick flip to get back onto his feet, which I thought was an awesome response to that play. Mm-hmm. And then on 2nd and goal, Josh Jacobs scored his 3rd touchdown, and then the 5th trip to the end zone or the red zone was where they had could have been Josh Jacobs' 4th touchdown of the game, but a super duper late flag on top of it being questionable to begin with.
Yeah.
Was end up as a field goal. So Packers scored touchdowns on 4 for 5 trips. They scored on all 5 trips. The Detroit Lions were allowing only 42% touchdown percentage in the red zone coming into this game. That was number 3 in the entire NFL. So scoring 4 touchdowns, that's still very good against a team that was defending the red zone very well. Okay. What do you want to say about Jordan Love's performance?
I thought Jordan Love was phenomenal, man. Especially since the first series of the game, he got freaking UFC punched in the freaking face, and we didn't get a flag for it. For him to stand in there, take the beating that he did, and literally like a computer be able to compute things on the fly, I thought was absolutely tremendous. Without his favorite target, you don't have to be a football know-it-all to know that he loves Romeo Doubs.
Yeah.
Romeo Doubs is open on the slant.
Yeah.
You call hike, Romeo Doubs is open on the slant. And that makes Jordan Love's job really easy.
You don't want to talk about potentially Romeo Doubs being worth a second contract. That 1 for 5 on third down absolutely goes up with Romeo Doubs in the game.
Bro, the 3rd and 5 and 36 we had, he could easily pick those up with Romeo Doubs.
Yep.
100%.
Yep.
He could have picked up the 3rd and 9, dude. What am I talking about?
They picked up a 3rd and 15 against the 49ers.
Yeah, he could have picked up all the third downs with Romeo Doubs. Yeah. Romeo Doubs is the guy on third down. So without his number one target, and in my opinion, the reason that Jaden Reed only played 25 snaps, and we've talked about this, he's not as good of a run blocker. And this one was kind of a slobber knocker, kind of old school black and blue division kind of football game. And we needed our run blockers in there. And you talked about Bo Melton being a good run blocker. That's why he was in there. So Bo Melton's not in there to catch the ball a lot. Let's just call it what it is. He's kind of a gadget player. He run blocks pretty well, and then he takes some handoffs every once in a while. So when you look at the hand that Jordan Love was dealt, dude, he played so good. He made one of the craziest throws I've seen him make in my entire life. To avoid the rush, step up and sling that thing in that tight of a window to Watson. Bruh, I was like, hell no, he didn't do that shit. That was crazy.
Dude, the footwork on that play was insert any crazy, bonkers, nuts, wild, all of the above. The footwork on that play, holy shit, hanging in the Louvre. What? Just absolutely insane.
I agree.
Darian said, I wish Luke Musgrave would get healthy soon to become an established, guaranteed red zone target for us in the future. Yeah, I'd love to have that sorted out as well. Kind of tough, just another one of those it is what it is situations, unfortunately.
Yeah.
We'll just have to kind of wait and see. We'll see. That's kind of where we're at.
Mm-hmm.
For me, looking at Jordan Love, overcame a very slow first half. I think he only had 31 yards in the first half and finished with 206 for the game on only 20 throws and 12 completions. 12 completions to rack up 206 yards. Probably could have been 13 or 14, depending on how you're looking at it. Also added 4 rushes for 23 yards, had a couple really productive scrambles I thought was good as well. But the biggest thing is the 0 turnover worthy plays and the specific play that you brought up that'll 100% be in our play breakdowns this week. Anything else you wanted to say on the Lions game?
No, I'm gonna save my thoughts for when we see them again.
Okay. Let's jump into some preview then. Scott said, hope the Pack can win out to overtake the Vikings. That would be awesome. And I would love to have the game at the end of the year matter for seeding somehow and just take out a bunch of frustration on the Bears. Again, just to further put another nail in that coffin, because that would be fun for me. So what are you looking for on the defensive side of the ball?
So in terms of defense, so I cover third down defense. So in terms of third down defense, Packers are allowing 36.08% of third down conversions. That is 13th in the NFL. Over the last 3 weeks, they've allowed 35.90, still 13th in the NFL. So they're a top half third down defense. And again, these numbers are all separated by decimal points. So any way you cut it, man, having Cooper and Jair, I think those numbers the last couple of weeks would be fucking insane. In terms of third down defense, the offense of Seattle on third downs, they're converting 38% of their third downs. So that's 16th in the NFL. Over the last 3 weeks, they're converting 42.86. So that's top 10. They're a top 10 third down offense over the last couple of weeks on third downs. In terms of pass rush, Packers are 15th in passer rating allowed, and they're 14th in sacks. So total sacks, we have 33 total sacks. That's 14th. For everybody that's complaining about the pass rush, would you expect them to be a top half pass rush unit? I wouldn't have. I was like, wow, I expected them to be somewhere around 17, 18. I was like, they'll probably be close to the middle, but they'll be below it. For them to be a top half, I'm like, dude, we got a lot of potential in that room.
Yeah. Yep.
Guys like Carl Brooks could show up a little bit more. Guys like Kenny Clark could show up a little bit more and collapse the pocket from the inside, so we wouldn't have to blitz Quay as much. That's stuff that could really help. And the rest of these stats are from PFF. 28 quarterback hits and 130 hurries. So those are all things that we're going to need. We're going to need to hurry. We're going to need to hit Geno early and often. Our best pass rusher is Gary. In terms of sacks, he's 43rd in sacks in the league, and he is 18th in hurries. So, he had a rough first half, but if he could pick it up these last couple of weeks and get hot going into the playoffs, that could really turn this defense around. Red zone, Packers are allowing 61.36 as his touchdowns only, 23rd in the NFL. Over the last 3 weeks, they're allowing 70% touchdowns at 25th. That's not good. It's trending in the wrong direction. Seattle offense in the red zone is scoring on 54%, so that's 20th. So we're getting kind of a bad red zone offense, so this could be a week where we can bounce back a little bit. They're only scoring on 50 touchdowns on 50% of their red zone trips over the last 3 weeks. That's 20th in the NFL. So again, this could be just what the doctor ordered for the red zone defense.
That's fair. I will say, as far as the red zone defense goes, couple lucky possessions by the Lions, and the Dolphins had a literal lucky touchdown that just fell into Tyreek Hill's hands.
Yeah.
When you're looking at a smaller sample size, some of those contextual things can skew it.
I know what's really funny, dude? Tyreek Hill has had more kids this year than he has touchdowns. Just wanted to point that out, dude. He has 4 touchdowns this year for context, people. 4 touchdowns, and he has more kids than that.
Oh, man.
In 1 year, bro.
Darian said this matchup against the Seahawks could be a possible playoff matchup. We'll have to treat it as such, and it would be in Seattle. So they can kind of familiarize themselves with that a little bit. For me, looking at the defensive side of the ball, Geno has been under pressure on 38.1% of his dropbacks. He completes just 53.2% of his passes when he's under pressure, and 29% of them under blitzes. So looking at it, the dropbacks versus blitzes is a 9% non-blitz pressure rate. Mm-hmm. So the Seahawks run on average about 62 plays a game. So I'm looking for 6 or 7 pressures by the D-line without any blitzes. That's what I'm looking for. Charbonnet was very good in the absence of Kenneth Walker, so still going to have to be on their P's and Q's as far as the running game is concerned. Quay and McDuffie, like I mentioned in the recap, were very productive in that area. As far as coverage is concerned, that's where we need Edgerrin Cooper healthy. We'll talk about it. Looking at the secondary, JSN has taken over as the lead dog in their wide receiver room. DK Metcalf is still capable of monster games, and I will never count out Tyler Lockett because he's been so consistent for his entire career.
Yeah.
So have to be on guard against all 3 of them. Looking at the coaching part of this game, if the secondary is thin, I need Hafley to have the guys available, ready to go, whether preparing them for a specific role or preparing them as a unit to play zone defense more effectively.
Mm-hmm.
That's my main thing there. Anything you want to say on coaching or special teams before we go?
Just in terms of defense, Geno is not a very mobile guy. So you're going to have that. He's going to try. He really is a pocket passer. Yeah. You're going to have to be, like you said, be on your P's and Q's, watch for checkdowns. And that's exactly where we've been getting killed the last couple of weeks, is in the middle of the field and the little checkdown areas. We're going to have to tighten that up a little bit this week.
Yeah, and then just rally. Yep. They've been really good at that all season.
Yep.
All right, what are you looking for from offense?
In terms of offense, I really only cover third downs, but I'm going to talk about tight ends and O-line today as well. Third downs, Packers are converting 37.59% of their third downs for the season. That is 19th in the NFL. Seattle's is giving up 38.01. They're 17th. Last 3 weeks, Packers are converting 41.38, so they're up to 12th over the last 3 weeks, so they've been a lot better in that area, even with the 1 for 5 last week, so that's positive. And Seattle has been on fire as well on defense. They are 8th in the NFL over the last 3 weeks, allowing only 32.43%. So third downs, as always, will be an important down to determine who comes out of this game. Seattle doesn't have crazy pass rush stats, so as long as the offensive line holds up like they have the entire year, we've only given up 8 sacks, including the one we gave up right away in the Lions game. Packers offensive line will be just fine.
Yeah,
okay?
I agree. This is kind of a coaching tie into the offense as far as the passing game distribution is concerned. I'd like to see the running backs get more involved. Josh Jacobs was heavily involved in the Dolphins game. Over the course of the season, like Wilson and Brooks have gotten like 1 or 2 targets each. Part of that just goes to the fact that the Packers only threw the ball 20 times last week.
Yeah.
Obviously, if the ball is thrown 10 more times, the ball is going to be spread around more.
Yep.
Looking at the red zone, Seattle allows 52.2% touchdown percentage. That's number 11. They allow 38.5% at home. Packers are scoring on 57.4% of their red zone trips. That's number 12 in the league. That's thanks to being 80% over the last 3 weeks, which is number 4 in the NFL.
Yeah.
So the red zone offense was a bit of an issue. I think part of the game script applied to that as well, with the Jacksonville and the Texans games both being like red zone trips at the end of the game and then like kneeling on purpose to kick a game-winning field goal. So like they purposely weren't scoring touchdowns in that situation.
Yeah.
If they get 5 chances again, I would say 3 is good, 4 is great, 5 is obviously perfection.
Yeah.
Justin said I'd hope to see some spark out of the special teams, especially in the punt return. I know we can be electric. We just haven't had much of that. Being in the dome, like Jake said, it kind of gives the perfect position for the kicking.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to matchups. We didn't get any. Sorry, hold on. I skipped ahead because matchups is the next thing in my notes. But you have the injury designations to watch out for, and the weather report.
Yeah, so I'll just rip both right away. So in terms of injury report, Seattle has 2 players that really matter. They have Trey Brown, who is a cornerback for them. He is questionable. No further notes on him. And then Kenneth Walker, he has a calf injury, and Coach Mike McDonald said that they're going to do further testing to find out about his injury. He is listed as questionable, but as I told you earlier, and you smartly came up with a very smart, reasonable answer that sounds like he's probably out, and I would agree with that.
Yeah.
So I would expect Kenneth Walker not to play, barring a miracle. If they're getting further testing, that's probably a pretty good sign. In terms of the Packers, Evan Williams is in concussion protocol. He left the game last week with a concussion. That sucks.
Yeah.
Really liking Evan Williams. He's putting together an excellent rookie season. And then Javon Bullard, he left the game last week in a boot, hurt his ankle. He is listed as week to week. He's also listed as questionable, so I would not expect to see number 20 out there. And give him credit as well for a rookie to just be bouncing around different positions. He's been phenomenal. In terms of Jair, there's no updates. Those tissue injuries, man, those are tough, dude. Those are tough to judge.
Yeah.
It's not like a bone, dude. Like that, it's completely different. It heals differently. Everybody's body is different. So for people to sit here and be like, we got to get rid of Jair, but then they watch the game on Thursday where we got tore up. Here's your sign. He's not going anywhere in 2025. I can't believe that's a fucking question. Corey Ballantyne listed as questionable. Cooper listed as questionable, and Romeo Dobbs still in concussion protocol. Again, everybody's body is different. Everybody's body reacts to injuries different, so he's still questionable as well. But a lot of big-time important players on the injury report for the Packers, so hopefully we can get 2-3 of them back and go into Seattle and get a W. Now I'm going to go to the weather report here. So we're in Seattle. What does it do in Seattle? A lot. It rains. So the weather report for Sunday night December 15th. Overcast with rain showers at times. Low 42 degrees. Winds south-southeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour. And chance of rain is 40%. And if you look at the radar for Seattle, Monday rain, Tuesday rain, Wednesday rain, Thursday partially rain, Friday rain, Saturday rain, Sunday rain. For the next week after Sunday, it was like,
it's gonna rain.
They talk about depression when it snows here, dude. It literally rains every day there. That's horrible. My God. And then you have to cheer on the Seahawks. Ugh. Ugh.
All right. Well, when you put it that way, let's go into the matchups. I'll go first since you just had the couple of segments in a row. I'll let you catch up.
Go ahead.
My matchup to watch is Matt LaFleur versus Mike McDonald. Mike McDonald came in as a defensive head coach, came over as from the defensive coordinator position for the Ravens to the head coaching job for the Seahawks. The Packers offense has scored 99 points in the last 3 weeks. I would love for the Packers to hang out at the 30 spot on a pretty decent Seattle defense. I wouldn't say they're a good defense or a great defense, but they're pretty decent. So what is your matchup to watch?
My matchup to watch is LVN and Gary versus Geno Smith. Now, I wrote down some numbers on Geno Smith. He is second in passing snaps, fourth in dropbacks, second in attempts, second in passing yards, and 21st in passing touchdowns. He's also fifth in big-time throws and 47th in turnover-worthy plays. So when you take a synopsis of all that, he throws the ball a lot. He doesn't put the ball in danger a lot. And he only has scrambled 20 times, even though he's had all of these passing snaps. So when he first came in with the Jets, first of all, playing for the Jets is just gotta be a nightmare at this point, dude. They just have the longest history. I mean, they're like the AFC Bears at this point of just ruining players.
It's totally fair.
And you know, if you think that pressuring him is the key, it's not, because when he's kept clean, he has a 105.6 rating, right? When he's blitzed, it only drops to 93. When he's not blitzed, it drops to 89. Now, when he's under pressure, it drops to 58. So the key is just to win up front with 4 and hope that you confuse him with coverages. So that's why I'm putting this on LVN and Gary. You guys are the first round picks. Gary, you got paid. LVN, you want to get paid? Sounds like a good time to get paid.
Spoiler alert, those two are coming up in a later segment for me.
Hell yeah, they are.
Who's your X factor? Justin said place your bets on Jacobs. He's going to get tons of carries. Well, that's a given at this point.
My X factor is Jordan Love, actually. So
cool.
Jordan Love has been on fire. Toyota-thon Jordan Love at this point is just absolutely, you could stamp it. It is confirmed. It's confirmed at this point, dude. It's been 2 years in a row. It's not a conspiracy theory anymore. So he's going on Monday night. He just balled out and had some good throws on Thursday night against a good Lions team. Now he gets the center stage on Sunday Night Football. I've heard rumors that we're wearing the all-white uniforms. We're a little crispy clean under the bright lights of Sunday night. Jordan Love can go out there, look crispy, and Pookie Bear can go out there and ball out. I should call him Pookie Bear or Silly Body. I don't know which one I like better.
Definitely Pookie. Call him Pookie for sure. Justin's matchup to watch is JSN versus our secondary. That'll definitely be just their wide receiver trio in general versus whoever's available for the secondary, which goes right into my X factor. I'm going to stick with the same one as last week, and I'm going to say Jair Alexander again.
Okay.
For the same reasons, because obviously the Packers need him out there on defense, but they need Jair's attitude out there as well. He's a guy who fires up his teammates. Whenever they're making plays, he hypes up his teammates. I want Jair on the field. Yeah. And I'm not going to say that we need Jair out on the field to the detriment of his future health, because that is something I've seen a lot of people saying, like, Jair's paid all this money. He needs to play. If you are mad that he's missing games and you are also trying to force him onto the field in your brain, that creates a bigger issue.
Yeah.
Because when you try to play when you're not 100% or even, say, 80%, what you risk is a bigger injury. So Jair is currently dealing with a partial tear. if the Packers are able to win some games or even just maintain where they are at as far as playoff seeding, and Jair can play in the playoffs, I will take that versus putting him out there to try to win a week 14 and a week 15 game that's ultimately not going to matter whether they end up in the 5th or the 6th seed in the grand scheme, because they're not going to win the North. They're just say it like it is. Whether they end up in the 5th or the 6th seed and Jair's partial tear becomes a full tear, and then he misses the first 4 games of next season too, and isn't playing in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So you just have to measure that. Darian said his X factor is Jaden Reed. He'll have to get more targets this game and show up for us on offense. Yeah, that's a matchup dependent thing as well. Definitely hoping to see more of that. Justin said his X factor is our linebackers versus Charbonnet. You're pretty close. I think it's 2 N's and 1 T. So you're pretty close. He was
I like the spelling.
I like Charbonnet coming out of the draft. So
the NETT though, that's elite, dude. That's elite.
Yeah, whatever.
Hey man, come on.
Such a dork. All right, give me your score prediction from the head.
So before I give this, I'm going to tell you, Seattle is 3-4 at home this year, and the Packers are 4-2 on the road. So take that into consideration.
Hold on. Let me give a weird stat too.
What's up?
The Packers average 26.4 points at home and 27.3 points on the road.
What the fuck?
The Colts game was a home game. They only scored 16 points. So I think that's
right. That's right. That's fair. Yeah, that's weird. But they scored 38 against the 49. I don't know. Numbers.
When you average them out, it's the halfway point of that is what, 27?
Yeah.
So 26.4.
Makes sense. So I mean, I feel pretty good about this score prediction now. So thank you for that. I have Packers from the head 28-20.
I have 27-21. So take a point away from the Packers and give it to the Seahawks.
I like it. From the heart, because every time I watch a Seattle game, they have like the weirdest score of all time. Like they just have a bunch of scorigami.
Yeah, what did they win, like 30-18 last week?
Yeah, they have like weird scores all the time. So I was like, you know what? It's probably gonna be a weird score. We're gonna win by 1 score, and it's gonna be an awkward score. So I wrote 33-25.
Okay. I went with a little more normal. I said 31-20.
31-20. Okay. Ooh, that's kind of an ass whooping. I like it.
It's 11 points. It's not crazy.
Yeah, but 2 scores. I like it.
4 touchdowns and a field goal.
Yeah.
All right. Simon says, I'm going to jump in because I told you that Lucas Van Ness and Rashawn Gary were going to come back. I put, for my defensive, Simon says, Lucas Van Ness strip sack and a Rashawn Gary strip sack.
Strip sack from both? All right, I'll take it. I'm with it.
Justin said from the head, 31-21.
So I think you're gonna like
taking them by 10 on the road. Damn.
You're gonna like my defensive one. Jair returns and has a pick 6.
That would make my heart happy.
Lots of healing going on in Packers Nation.
Absolutely. Justin said from the heart, 34-14. That's an ass whooping.
If we go in there wearing the icy whites and win 34-14, bro, there's going to be some hell to pay. I'm telling you what.
That'd be some immaculate vibes right there.
Yeah.
All right. Offensive side of the ball, I have a similar return to form. Romeo Doubs comes back with 2 touchdowns.
Okay. Oh, dude, I can see that easily.
He did that once already this season, so it's
that one's pretty easy. I didn't write an offensive one down this week. I only had a defensive one.
All right. That's okay. I'll allow it. So I believe both Simon and Bryant will be back next week. Like Jake said, Simon's doing a little bit extra stuff with the military, and Bryant is off at a holiday party. Justin said, Simon says Wyatt and Clark show up big with 3 sacks and a forced fumble. I like that. I like that as well.
That's possible.
Other than that, Jake and I will be back tomorrow to discuss the Bucks and Badgers basketball. All basketball shows from here on out until the Brewers kind of get kicking on Wednesdays. So it'll be all basketball tomorrow. Justin also said Kraft has 2 touchdowns. I mean, I'm not going to rule out anything with Tucker Kraft. That dude's an animal.
Yeah.
But yeah, Justin, again, glad glad to see that you got the care package that we sent out to you and you appreciated it. We just wanted to show some appreciation for you. And other than that, go Pack Go. Keep an eye out for play breakdowns later this week. I'm about halfway through rewatching the game, looking for plays to clip. So keep an eye out for that as well. And we will see you guys tomorrow and then again next week. And Justin, take care. Everybody else, take care. We'll see you next week.